Will history repeat itself? The Department of National Defense says it can sign a contract for 20 multirole fighters. But Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro warns that Philippine regulations may once again hold everything back. In his own words, the funds are there, yet the laws limit soft loans, and multi-year obligations could trap the defense budget in billions of pesos every year. As Secretary Teodoro admitted, "We have the money, but we cannot trigger the project without changing the law." Once again, it is not about funds, but about regulations that strangle the timing of big-ticket acquisitions. The Philippines was the first in Southeast Asia to operate jet aircraft. But today, the world is asking, can we succeed again? Or will the Multirole Fighter program be another entry in the long list of missed opportunities? But now, with new revelations from Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. and bold projections from Lockheed Martin, we may finally understand why. Stay with me until the end. We also break down what this could mean for Philippine security in the South China Sea. Before we continue our discussion, don't forget to like button, subscribe, and the notification bell button from Pinoy Guard. Welcome back to Pinoy Guard. In a recent congressional hearing, Secretary Teodoro laid out the Department of National Defense's financial reality. His words revealed why certain projects are delayed, why funding seems locked, and why what looks possible on paper can be almost impossible in practice. According to the Secretary, confirmed by the Department of Budget and Management, there is still 9 billion pesos left in the 35 billion pesos programmed funds for fiscal year 2025. At the same time, the department has not touched any of the unprogrammed funds, because those can only be accessed once at least 80% of the programmed funds are used. That means, on paper, the money already exists to trigger a contract for as many as 20 multirole fighters. Most observers point to Sweden's Saab AB, with its Gripen aircraft, as the likely partner. But the Secretary explained why he has not pulled the trigger. The reason is not about trust, nor about preference. The real problem lies in what happens after the ink dries on the contract. First, Philippine law imposes limits on how much the country can borrow through soft loans for defense. This restriction means the Philippines cannot yet access long-term financing packages offered by Sweden, Italy, France, or South Korea. These packages could stretch payments over decades, making them manageable. But unless Congress amends the law and the President approves it, the Department of National Defense cannot make use of them. Second, without soft loans, the department must rely on something called multi-year obligation authorities. This system allows payments to be spread out, but only until 1 year after full delivery. Imagine Saab delivering all 20 Gripen fighters in 4 years. Under the rules, the Philippines must finish paying for them in about 5 years, with the heaviest payments falling between the second and fourth year. This creates a dangerous financial squeeze. The Secretary warned that if the department goes down this path, the total obligations could rise to more than 90 billion pesos per year, once combined with other active projects like the Navy's offshore patrol vessels, the Air Force's FA-50 Block 70 aircraft, and advanced C-4IST AR systems. Now, compare that to the annual allocation for the entire modernization program, which usually ranges only from 35 to 50 billion pesos a year. The math is brutal. The Defense Department would be unable to pay everything at once, and worse, it would be unable to start new projects. That is why the Secretary has been cautious, or as he described it, gun-shy, about signing the Multirole Fighter deal. Yet change is on the horizon. The Department of Budget and Management, along with the Department of Finance, has given assurances that standby funds and access to unprogrammed allocations can be made available. Even Congress has begun to study possible amendments to loan limits, giving the Secretary new room to maneuver. If these promises hold, then the Department of National Defense may finally have the confidence to push through with the fighter project before the end of the year. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, Lockheed Martin has sensed the opportunity. Despite the high cost of its F-16 Viper package, the American defense giant refuses to step away. Just recently, the company announced that its Philippine package could create an economic impact worth 50 billion pesos and generate as many as 2,000 local jobs. It is a powerful pitch, one meant to show that even a more expensive aircraft can pay dividends to the local economy. But here is a detail that many forget. Long before its neighbors even dreamed of building air forces, the Philippines was already flying higher. In 1955, the Philippine Air Force became the first in Southeast Asia to fly a jet fighter, the F-86 Sabre. At that time, neither Indonesia, Malaysia, nor Thailand had placed their pilots in supersonic jet cockpits. It was a milestone that crowned the Philippines as a pioneer of aviation in the region. For decades, the Blue Diamond aerobatic team performed stunning maneuvers in Sabres across Philippine skies, inspiring a generation. The Philippines was ahead of the curve, flying jets when others were still relying on propeller-driven aircraft. That legacy is often forgotten, but it proves that the Air Force once set the standard in ASEAN. Yet history also carries a painful irony. While neighbors like Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia steadily upgraded into modern fighter fleets, the Philippines lost its edge. By 1995, after the retirement of the last F-5 Freedom Fighter, the country had no true jet fighters left. For almost 3 decades, the Philippine Air Force has been without the multirole fighters that once symbolized its pioneering spirit. And this is why the Multirole Fighter Acquisition Project is more than just another procurement. It is a test of whether the Philippines can reclaim its place as a serious air power in Southeast Asia. It is not just about defending the skies above Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. It is about restoring a legacy. The stakes are even higher now. The South China Sea is a flashpoint, and Chinese military outposts continue to grow in the Calayan Island group. Without modern fighters, the Philippines cannot credibly defend its airspace, its exclusive economic zone, or even provide air cover for its Navy and Coast Guard vessels in contested waters. That is why the world is watching closely. Will the Philippines finally commit after decades of delay? Will the Air Force once again rise to its former glory as the first in Southeast Asia to break barriers and dominate the skies? Or will financial laws and hesitation continue to clip the wings of a force that once inspired the region?